as many aspects of what is going on so we could get a firm understanding in what might be the truth. Let's hear some more details about this.
Trinidad and Tobago is formally objecting to the reappointment of Dr. Carla Barnett as Secretary General of CARICOM. In correspondence to Dr. Terence Drew, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis and Chairman of the Caribbean Community, TNT's Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Minister Sean Sobers said the matter was never properly placed before heads of government. According to Sobers, the issue was not included on the official agenda of the 50th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting held in St. Kitts and Nevis in February, nor was it discussed during plenary sessions. He adds, while reports suggest the reappointment was raised during a closed-door retreat, Trinidad and Tobago was not present. Sobers told Drew, quote, "It is my understanding that the current term of the Secretary General is due to conclude on the 14th of August 2026. However, formal communication on this has not yet been received," end quote. In CARICOM's statement announcing the reappointment, it said discussions took place during the retreat of the heads of government. But Sobers said Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua and Barbuda, and the Bahamas were not allowed to participate in this retreat as representatives on behalf of their respective heads of government. Consequently, TNT was not privy to the deliberations on a critical regional decision. Sobers also points to concerns over transparency, noting there has been no formal communication on the end of Dr. Barnett's current term. And citing the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, he stressed that the appointment of a Secretary General must be decided by the Conference of Heads of Government based on recommendations from the Community Council. As a result, he said, quote, "We wish to place on record Trinidad and Tobago's disagreement with the reappointment of Secretary General Barnett. We believe this was not done in the spirit and letter of Article 24 of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas," end quote.
Wow.
Despite the objection, government says it
would have expressed concerns about the reappointment of the Secretary General, Dr. Barnett. Do you share similar concern, or what is your take on the developments with regards to the reappointment?
Well, first of all, let me be fully transparent on this matter. I was involved in the discussions as all other heads on the reappointment of the Secretary General. We support the reappointment of the Secretary General. That's the first thing. So I hope that brings clarity. The second thing is that I was there when the Secretary General was appointed the first time, and we did not follow any process that is different from the first time. You know, when you go to CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, there is, of course, the general meeting, the plenary, and then there's the caucus. And this matter was discussed in caucus, and the views were exchanged, and the decision was taken. So, I mean, every leader has their right to. That's part of what democracy is, to have their opinion on a system. But I must say that for the time I'm at CARICOM, we did not follow any different process, and Guyana was part of the decision.
And you're satisfied with Dr. Barnett's performance?
That is why we were part of the decision.
Okay, so we heard from Trinidad, we heard from the president, but what are other high caliber politicians saying about this situation that is bubbling up right now that could get a whole lot of implications as it relates to CARICOM? Because if Trinidad is holding that perspective, we could definitely estimate that, listen, they're making one of the biggest contributions to CARICOM, so they're going to pull a lot of weight. And these are some of the views that we're getting from one of the former finance minister, the Honorable Mr. Jordon. Let's hear some insights about what is going on with this situation.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister, Kamala Bissessa's call for transparency from the CARICOM community over the reappointment of Dr. Carla Barnett, a Belizean, as Secretary General of Caricom. Dr. Barnett's first term in office ends, I believe, in August, or is it May? Might be May. Having come here, I think she came in 2020, or is it 2021? Somewhere around there, anyhow. But it ends in, or first 5 years, so she might have come 2021. Ends in, I think, May of this year. And at the last heads of government meeting in St. Kitts and Nevis, her reappointment was confirmed by the heads of government. But the Trinidad and Tobago's prime minister, who was not at the caucus, who had left the meeting by then, is saying that the process was surreptitious and odious. This is according to the Trinidad Express of 2 days ago. She's calling the process surreptitious and odious. And she has threatened to cut, even halt, Trinidad's contribution to Caricom's budget, which is estimated to be just over 35 million US annually, or roughly 127 million TT dollars. It's the highest contribution paid by a member of Caricom. Trinidad has been the highest for a long time. As I said, they were together with Jamaica at one time. They paid the highest, and I don't know now, as a result of Jamaica's falling GDP or so on, whether Trinidad now singly is paying the highest contribution. But she has threatened to cut Trinidad's contribution to the Secretariat, or even withhold or withdraw the contribution if the matter is not resolved, as she said, transparently. She's quoted as saying that the organization, that is Caricom, and its secretariat should absolutely expect no quarter from her government. Quote, I will mercilessly, relentlessly, and if needed, ruthlessly, publicly prosecute this matter. Extremely strong language. Extremely strong language. I will mercilessly, relentlessly, and if needed, ruthlessly, publicly prosecute this matter. She's quoted as saying in the Trinidad Express. Her grouse is that Trinidad and Tobago and other member states were excluded from the decision making in respect of the reappointment of Dr. Carla Barnett. She says the reappointment was not conducted in accordance with Article 24 of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, which requires formal consideration and appointment by the Conference of Heads of Government.
You see why it's got to get more than one side to a story? One person saying it's the protocol that they've been following all the time since they came to Caricom X, Y, and Z. But the other head of state is saying, listen, we are going to do everything that we can do legally to make sure that this situation is prosecuted. Now, if they don't believe that they got a case, why go about it so vigorously, right? We're getting a chance to hear as many aspects of what's going on so we could understand what might be the foundation and the truth. Big up yourself to all the travelers in the live right now. Take a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Thumbs up the live if you haven't already. Thumbs up the live. 3 aspects to what's going on in Caricom right now. This could mean big problems for Caricom if your biggest contributor is saying, hey, y'all ain't getting nothing to get. until you get rid of this person? Or is Guyana gonna fill in the contributions, given that we are now earning way more, right? And we got a whole lot of influx of funds coming in from our oil wealth. Are we going to make a much larger contribution? So the contribution that Trinidad was making might not make any sense. Yeah, I think going on right there. Let's hear some more from Mr. Jordan.
These are very serious allegations. These are very serious allegations being made against sovereign heads of government.
Wow.
Because she's arguing that the decision was made surreptitiously
Hmm.
and the process was opaque and so on.
It's crazy.
She's saying also that she has written, or her government, through her foreign minister, one Mr. Sobels, has written 3 letters to the Caricom's Secretariat and to the heads of government, chairman. And according to her government, none of these letters have been visited with a response.
Wow.
Again, Trinidad's financial threats to cut or even withdraw or withhold their contribution, if pursued, will have disastrous consequences for the functioning of the Secretariat. This is not unlike what United States would have done when they completely withdrew from certain UN organizations, and even where they are in those organizations, they seem to be withholding their contribution.
What's going on, buddy? At a time like this, CARICOM going through these kind of problems, who's the cause of these problems? Who is some of the people at the center of these decisions? We got to analyze what's really going on here. And trust me, Delta 9 Media will keep you updated with all the updates coming in from this. We're going to be getting the updates from Trinidad and from Guyana as well, as we continue to cover the developments, because this gonna got a lot of far-reaching implications for CARICOM. Right now, CARICOM got a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the region, and the body needs to be functioning and functioning efficiently.
Trinidad Prime Minister would have expressed concerns about the reappointment of the Secretary General, Dr. Burnett. Do you share similar concern, or what is your take on the developments with regards to the reappointment?
Well, first of all, let me be fully transparent on this matter. I was involved in the discussions as all other heads on the reappointment of the Secretary General. We support the reappointment of the Secretary General. That's the first thing. So I hope that brings clarity. And the second thing is that I was there when the Secretary General was appointed the first time.
We got to see if we hear any conversation about Trinidad being there, because Trinidad wasn't there. They're claiming, but Trinidad is one of the biggest contributors. Imagine you paying the most, but they appointing people and you ain't even getting a chance to vote. That might be a situation to infuriate persons, allegedly. We're gonna update you with all the details coming in from this one. Who are the travelers in the chat right now? Welcome into the live. Roxanne, thanks for being a part of this live presentation.
We did not follow any process that is different from the first time. You know, when you go to CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, there is, of course, the general meeting, the plenary, and then there's the caucus. And this matter was discussed in caucus, and the views were exchanged, and the decision was taken. So, I mean, every leader has their right to. That's part of what democracy is. Um, to have their opinion on a system. But I must say that for the time I'm at Caricom, we did not follow any different process, and Guyana was part of the decision.
And you're satisfied?
Greetings, you're on to Delta 9 Major Life.
Good to you, my brother.
What's going on? Welcome into the live. Thanks for tuning in.
Media upon you this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe in finally cleaning the throat too much. Right.
You throw dry. You throw burning up with I tell you.
It's not gonna come out in a public statement that they was there when they was there. They wasn't there.
Boy, yeah.
I don't believe this. And they know you see what going on with Guyana now and the government of Guyana.
Mm.
They gonna side with the people them that want somebody they could control.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I don't believe what you can say about every clear one within your throat, my boy. What you
Big up yourself, as that's what calling it. I'm telling you, the frequent travelers highlighting, hey, how you clearing your throat so often? Something going on here. We're gonna hear some more coming in from Trinidad. I know Trinidad not gonna take it like that. And they're getting a chance to hear and see exactly the views coming in from the neighbors. So they're gonna have something to say about this. They definitely will have something to say
With
about
Dr.
this.
Burnett's performance.
That is why we were part of the decision.
Mr. President, Crystal Young with MTV. In December, you gave a deadline of 6 weeks for drivers to surrender the license who illegally obtained it.
Right.
Can you provide?
So don't put it like that. I said that we undertook an exercise and we found some.
And letter of Article 24 of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, end quote. Despite the objection, government says it remains committed to strengthening CARICOM, calling for a secretariat that is more responsive to the needs of the people across the region. Urvashi Tawari Rupnarayan, TV6 News.
Big up to all the travelers in the live right now. Thanks for
You
being
and
a
your
part of
co-author
this
Jonathan
live
Swan have an
presentation.
excerpt.
Resulting in a lot of scaling back of programs of the United Nations, and at the same time a building up of a hefty overdraft, because for the UN to continue running, it perhaps have to hope that others will pay up. But meanwhile, it has a staff to pay, it has an operations to run, and it probably running up a big overdraft, not unlike what the CARICOM Secretariat itself has been doing when member states do not pay at all, and there are several member states who don't pay at all, or those who pay late, even though they will have to meet the late fees.
That's crazy.
Or those who pay a part and don't remember to pay the other part. I know all this because I used to attend the budget committee meetings. So if Trinidad, the largest contributor to that budget, is threatening to do these things, and if Trinidad carries out those threats, then it has widespread implications for the Secretariat's ability to continue its operations and so on.
Wow.
Now, I saw this morning, because Trinidad was saying, first of all, that the Prime Minister left the meeting early. She didn't attend all the days of the meeting. She left the meeting early. She wasn't part of the caucus. But she claimed that her foreign minister, Minister Sobers, was delegated to attend the meeting. She claimed that Mr. Sobers was prevented from attending the meeting. And therefore, any decisions that were made at the retreat, at the caucus, were decisions not binding on Trinidad because they did not participate. So that is Trinidad's view. Another view has since emerged on Facebook, this time by former Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Ralph Gonsalves, who is claiming that Mr. Sobers' absence was due to his own actions, in that he didn't want to go from St. Kitts mainland to Nevis, which is another island and part of the country, St. Kitts and Nevis, because he didn't like to travel on water. Now, I'm hoping that this is some kind of April Fool's joke or some sort of thing, because Trinidad is an island, and Trinidad has Tobago. And I would hate to think that the foreign minister has never gone to Tobago. And if he has gone there, how did he get there? Because I know there's a jet bridge or whatever they call it. There's a boat. Maybe he flies in Caribbean Airlines all the time. But Ralph Gonsalves, that is what is put out there. But either way, one cannot allow this, I call it detraction, to further sink a Caricom that has had serious issues.
Telling you, y'all got a chance to hear right there from the former finance minister, Mr. Jordon,